Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Episode 36 of the $9 podcast with Drewski is now on the air, more or less. Like I said, I'm Drewski. I am the moderator of the TalkShop Patreon. I'm the game warden of the chat room for said Patreon, affectionately known as the Falcon's Nest. And what a week. What a week. What a live a couple days ago. If you want to tell a casual person, hey, you want to experience the full TalkNShop experience, the live Wednesday encapsulated pretty much what TalkNShop is in a nutshell. A whole lot of ball busting and a whole lot of technical issues wrapped up in a nice shiny package. And it was great to see Ferg. It was great to see Ferg officially in the nest for the first time. Because you have to realize, like, Ferg never showed up on the TDH. He had the one TDH episode where it was from NXT, and that was very controlled. It's a very controlled environment. Ferg being with the boys live, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, and those of you who watched watch the edited version of on YouTube. It's edited for a reason. I'll get to that later. You can see the sheer joy on Ferg's face, talking to the gun, because that's history there. That is like 12 plus years of history. They grew up like in the same situations in the dojo, forming the Bullet Club, having wildly divergent careers, both having success, and they're still just. That's a good thing about wrestlers. It's like there's certain you can have a conversation with one and not see that person for like about 6-7 years, and then next it could be like 5-6 years later, and you run into them again, and you pick up right where you left off conversation wise, and nothing's changed. It's the brotherhood is there, right? And so was the ball busting. The amount of ball busting. Okay, Ferg had WWE had parameters set up for this, for his appearance, because the boys actually went through channels instead of trying to do it the brother way, and he was only like allowed to be on for 15 minutes. And it didn't help that the first 10 minutes involved technical snafus, which it's unfortunate, but if you're a long-time fan TalkNShop, it's like you shouldn't be surprised at this. If anything, it's on brand because you have to remember the tagline is the worst podcast on earth. And certain part, and every once in a while they have to have a podcast that reminds people of this, and live is a good example of that. Trust me, it could have been way worse, right? I'm surprised Gallows still has as far as I know, Gallows still has a computer, but the way the big man temper was coming out like later, pretty much later on in the live, every time he tried to check back in, it's like you can see the rage increasing. It's, oh great, that PC is about to become a crater. It's about to be buried alive with Taker, and it's back in Gallows' backyard with the ghost cat. It was everybody was having fun. Killer Cross and Scarlet Bordeaux came in, and they were scheduled to go up pretty much all night, as long as it took, because they're great. They're great people. And they're on a roll like the boys are. They're just tearing up the independents. And what happened was, now I get to the elephant room. What happened was that the gun, we mentioned, I mentioned the sponsor, and I mentioned the sponsor. He mentioned a sponsor, like a mini ad read. It wasn't technically really an ad read because it didn't have an image of the ad, and It was for one of the sponsors of the TalkNShop that happens to be an online gambling site, which will fly on a podcast, but for some reason it does not fly on YouTube, because apparently it's against YouTube's terms of service to promote online gambling, apparently. But in midstream, it basically shut the whole show down, and it sent everybody in the chat basically into a full-on panic, and people trying to figure out what the hell was it, like a malicious thing? Was it like somebody from WWE decided to change their mind and didn't want the podcast to happen? It was all sorts of stuff. It was basically, the conversation would be the kind of thing that you'd hear like on Reddit or whatever. It's a whole lot of speculation. It took 10, 15 minutes of questions flying around for the boys to actually get word from YouTube why it got pulled. And when you look at it that way, it's a good thing that cleared it up. That just means, because you have to remember, the boys really even though they've been doing this for 12 plus years or so, it's only like recently they started doing like live podcast, live ad reads. Because they used to make up their own ads, their own sponsors, because they were too wild to have people sponsor them back in the day. So they're still navigating that sort of thing. And it's just, I look at it as like a mental note, and it's okay, don't do that later in the future. It's all you can do is just accept it, move on, and learn from it. Don't repeat the mistake. Don't repeat that mistake. So suffice to say, you'll hear Blue Chew ads. Yes, Blue Chew ads are good, but in certain ads you won't. But you'll see, hopefully, that implemented in the future. As a result, being proactive brother, protecting the boys, I didn't really have to, but I felt obligated to do. I put a post on the Squared Circle Reddit to do a mini press release thing. This is what happened, because there was people online asking what the hell happened, because people were just getting into the chat, still coming in. At one point, they had 200 something people in the chat, in the room. And there were still people coming in, and stream cutting off abruptly. It had a lot of confused people. Now I had to basically go out and make a statement. I got castigated for it a little bit by certain members of the nest, because they said, "Why accusing me? Why are you sucking up to internet wrestling fans? You realize you're on the internet and you're a wrestling fan, and you're asking me why." You can't make stuff up like that. My rationale is get ahead of it. You get ahead of it, to be transparent about it, so they don't make up. The boys have a bad enough reputation as it is. So you don't need to add to it. Compared to some, because the gun especially was so good at portraying the character like not caring or whatever. It's like people think that's actually him. They think he's shooting, but no, he's been working all this time. But he's so good at it, people can't separate the two. And it is what it is. And needless to say, Cross and Scarlett were invited back for next week's live as a make good. So we'll see if they accept. I hope they do, because they're real good people. And then a half hour after all that shenanigans happened, the gun came on, did the version of the morning radio, and you have to have the Blade, aka Pepper Parks, with him, who was supposed to be on the live, but in true brother fashion, he got distracted, and he was drinking wine with Teeny all night, basically. And he had to be coerced in by both myself and the gun to come in and say hi to everybody. But Pep's good people. Again, Pep's good people. And there'll be longer stuff with Pepper in the future, I'm guessing. I'm just at this point with like Gallows and his Wi-Fi and his computer stuff, and it's becoming like a running rib among the nesters. It's half the nesters have volunteered to come to his house and like basically do IT work, get that thing get it running right for him, so he doesn't take an axe to it and start building like a PC graveyard in his backyard, because Big Man Temper would that'd be expensive graveyard. If it was Big Man Temper, he'd be destroying a PC every week. And there was jokes about a GoFundMe being made to get like an actual Wi-Fi. He's made this thing about Georgia Wi-Fi being shitty on a good day, but it's 2026 for Christ's sake. Right now we have NASA sent a rocket to orbit the moon, for Christ's sake, and we can't get Gallows Wi-Fi to work. Get NASA people on it, for fuck's sake. Honestly. And I think probably this weekend, maybe, or because timing wise, the boys are going to be interviewing one Tony Khan. But that revelation came out of nowhere, because Tony Khan happened to be at the Maple Leaf Pro Show, and he ended up talking to the boys for hours. Because apparently TK was a TDH fan. He was listening to TDH episodes about the same time I was, and Drugs Delaney. So he's an old school brother, like some of the older school brothers in the nest. He's repped Bullet Club for years. There's videos of him at Ring of Honor shows wearing Bullet Club merch. And apparently he said it was a bucket list of his to be on TalkNShop. Now think about that for a second, right? The bucket list item for you're a billionaire, right? You're going to eventually own an NFL team, and you have a Premier League soccer team, and you have investments, and it's like you're worth a shitload of money, and a bucket list item is to be on bucket list items to be on a podcast with two kayfabe and hoots. See, what am I hoping for? Is it will be like a far-flung conversation? How much will they bury Rocky? That's the true question. Because the unique perspective about Sleepy Hoot, considering TK works with Sleepy Hoot pretty much all the time now. So there will be ball busting of Rocky pretty much all about half of that episode, I'm guessing. And the boys are going to be going to Vegas in about 2 weeks, and you're going to be there for 6 days. 6 fucking days in Vegas. So the thing about Vegas is, if you're a person who doesn't drink and doesn't really gamble, like the gun is now, he's gonna go shoot crazy in about 2 days being there. It's too much sensory overload, right? And too much temptation for him, I think. It's gonna be a good test of his sobriety. But he'll handle it, because it's been long enough. It's the point where it's like he knows better, and Teeny's going out there before him. So Teeny's probably spending all the whatnot money that she and the gun made a couple days ago on Emerson's whatnot. Yeah, I should know. So basically, I should know because I bought some stuff off that whatnot auction. So in a way, I'm funding Teeny's slot habit. You're welcome. And it should be. They haven't really announce what they're doing so much as I know they've been announced for Juggalo Championship Wrestling, Stranglemania. Apparently, they're doing something at the Nerd Bar that week. And they supposedly have an important announcement regarding the future of, I think, regarding TalkNShop in some form. And they're only telling the nesters it's big, whatever it is. So it's probably going to be a leveling up that no one sees coming. A game changer for like a lot of people involved, especially in the Patreon, maybe. But yeah, that's a little pie in the sky. I understand. It's stranger things have happened. In wrestling, strange things happen daily. Strange things happen daily. We're talking about business. We're talking about an industry where you can have a 5 foot Joshi named Mizuki fight a 9 foot inflatable panda bear named Andres the Giant Panda and go viral and be entertaining as hell. And Vegas, as of now, the boys are like making at least 5 appearances. They're up there with the wrestlers making the most appearances that aren't on Mania yet. Because they keep playing coy about it being on who's going to induct Uncle Alan. And the jokes have been made about the boys playing hardball about it, about being asked. We'll see. It's interesting that during Ferg's interview, he has intimated that the Gun said, hey, if you need backup against the Judgment Day, you know who to call. Do I expect the Hoots to be getting a Mania payday out of the blue? Nothing would surprise me. It would not be the first time the boys have kayfabed the nest in the past year. They've kayfabed the nest at least 3 times in the past year about making appearances places. Like they steadfastly deny that it's at this point where it's a joke. If they're steadfastly denying they're doing something, expect the opposite. So I'm not sure. They're in a strange limbo right now, where it's like they've got WWE injured. Apparently, Tony Khan wouldn't be talking to them out of the blue. Or there's smoke. It's okay. It's basically keeping you in mind, especially for all the injuries that have cropped up in the tag division for AEW. Don't be surprised if some Bald brothers get a call for at least a couple of appearances. That would not surprise me at all. It would not surprise me one bit. We shall see. We shall see. Now, with that, I think I'll end this episode. I've been accused of doing shit endings for these things because I don't do recaps and stuff. It's basically off the cuff. I understand that, but I'm going to start trying to rectify that shit. So if you're interested in helping a boy out, there's a link for merch shit. Yeah, I still have merch shit, and I'm actually doing decent. I think I'm doing decent. It's enough to get a pizza every once a month or so. It's not like the Brinks truck's rolling up to my door right now, but hey, you got to start somewhere, right? And if you want to support the boys, it's basically go. This is the link to the circus I oversee, and it's a cool community. It's a cool community, but yeah, sometimes they tend to gatekeep. There's a little bit of gatekeeping involved. A little bit. And, you know, it spans. It's like a generational thing. It's like it's like the younger guys don't understand why the older members that act the way they do. It's like, it's why it's too long to explain, really. I hope everybody has fun with what's coming, because I have a feeling it's going to be it's going to be a ride regardless. So I'll see you next week.